Hey everyone! Welcome back. I am back today with more Kamen Rider Saber. You guys, I just don't even know what to think anymore and what to expect next on the show, but I cannot wait to see more. If you're joining me early today, you already know what it means. It means you are one of my awesome patrons. Thank you so much, and as always, I'm sending up those big old hugs right through that screen. And if not, still thank you for joining me today. I'm glad you're here. I do hope you'll consider supporting me that way. The link to my Patreon is going to be in the description down below. So, okay, we got a lot of info last time on Saber. Still opens up more questions. I do feel like every time we get info, it just does kind of end up opening up more questions. But we got quite a few things answered last time, which was great and very surprising. First thing I want to say is I had kind of gone in with this idea that, is the world that, like, Touma and all of them are living in not real? Is it, like, another, a version of the little worlds that pop up that we see, and they're going to figure out that they're just, like, part of somebody else's story or something? And I think Caliber had said, like, the ending is predetermined. So I'm like, oh my god, I was right. And somebody pointed out, it's not so specifically that, like, the world isn't real. It's more or less maybe just a slightly more, like, vague breaking of the fourth wall. In terms of the fact that, we know it's a TV show and everything. Or is it? No, just kidding. It really is. It really is. So I don't know if that's where they're going with it exactly, that, like, the world isn't real. I thought that was going to be, like, the big reveal. I also kind of have had this feeling that, like, maybe there's something wrong with their organization. And that actually was true. The revelation of it initially kind of went over my head, unfortunately, but after I kind of came to and realized what they were trying to say, I realized that there's a traitor in the organization, and that's kind of this truth that he has been after all this time. He and Kento's dad were really good friends, and he kind of, like, took up the cause to try and find out who had, like, corrupted his friend, I guess, after he died. And that's why he had to become Caliber. Also, there's something special about Luna. Like, Luna connects the two worlds, and we don't really know any of the details of that. But we had a very sad ending for Caliber, and he does kind of, in his last moments, kind of come to realize, I use the word truth, after speaking with Touma a little bit about, how his whole thing was like, don't trust don't rely on people, don't trust people and everything. And he kind of sees the light a little bit about that, and ends up giving the Dark Blade to Touma. So I guess it was nothing about the blade specifically that was so bad. That's kind of like where my head was at. But I'll be very curious to see Touma wielding it. That'll be... Oh, let's not forget. So, I don't know what happened to Kento, or if we're ever going to get, like... I don't know. A lot of people say he's definitely not done on the series, and I would tend to agree with that. But I don't know, like, where they're going with it. The red eye thing, like, I think myself and a lot of other people thought that he was going to become Caliber, or something was going to happen to him. And we saw him in the last one, and he just, like, showed up as, like, a ghost, kind of. I don't know. I don't really know where they were going with that. But he definitely, like, showed up and was trying to encourage and support. Or maybe it was just all in Toma's head. I honestly have no clue. But I don't know where they're going with him, because I feel like they're not done with this character. And I feel like they did kind of, instead of just having him, like, disintegrate and disappear, like, they did that whole red eye thing with him. Like, what was that about? So we still have, like, a lot of questions. Who is the traitor? I feel like, and they even, like, showed her at the end looking like, the southern base, individual who we met several episodes ago, has seemed suspicious, and like I said, even like highlighted her at the end, like after they said, like, wonder who it could be. But I also feel like that's very obvious. Maybe there's just something more to it, and that is the case. But I could really see them like pulling a fast one on us and being like, having her being like a red herring, and it was really somebody else. Sophia is. Nobody knows where Sophia is. We have not checked in on poor Sophia in a while. We've had a lot going on, so it's understandable. But yeah, guys, we have a lot going on. It's episode 16, and it feels like we passed like episode 35 like a few episodes ago. Like that's how much we have going on. So let's dig in. Let's see what's gonna happen and find out if they can keep this momentum going for like 40 something episodes. So let's get started. Next one. Okay. The show. What are they doing? What are they doing? All right. So apparently all of the other swordsmen have turned now on Touma, which happened very fast, I have to say. They did a very good job with this, in my opinion. Because as disappointed as I am in the other swordsmen knowing what's really going on, even I was like, wait, what's really going on here? Because they created Reika, I guess her name is. It's a convincing enough scenario when you know that like he has the dark blade now, and even like a lot of us were thinking that's what happens. Anyone who's touched by that is now corrupted. Even I was like, well, they're trying to tell him not to go off and do it on his own and everything. I'm like, are we going with that? Like, is he going to be seduced by the power and everything? So, I mean, there was enough kind of, plausibility to that. I mean, not really, because again, like we, the audience, kind of know, we've seen behind the scenes stuff, but there's enough plausibility to that if you have devoted your life to this organization and they took you in and they're your family and they're, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There is kind of enough room for error there, you know what I mean? That maybe you could kind of sort of believe that. And then you have Touma kind of coming at it with his side of the story, saying like, no, wait, but he told me that it's this, and that. And it's like, this guy killed Kento. This guy was their enemy, and you're going to believe him. And so it was really arranged very well, because it was arranged in a way that Touma was going to kind of maybe talk himself into using enough keywords to make Reika's reasoning sound. That being said, really, you guys, you're gonna believe this. How do you even know she's from the Southern Base? I could show up on the show and say, hey, I'm from the Eastern Base. How you doing? How do we even know? Like, did anyone call ahead and be like, hey, we're sending this person just to... How do you know? Does she have, like, an ID card? Does she have... Last time I checked, she could be anyone from anywhere coming and saying that. Now, I don't know. Maybe they did or said something that confirmed who she was. But, I mean, I'm really starting to think, like, is it going to come out that, like, there is no Southern Base or something, It makes sense because there's a Northern Base that there would be a Southern Base. But, like, how do we even know? Have they ever said anything about the Southern Base other than she is from it? Does anyone, like, I would just die if Sophia showed up and was like, what Southern Base? There is no Southern Base. And she just, Reika was just, like, from the get-go the whole time. Like, clearly she's working for them or with them or something. Like, she's not on the up and up. And it's possible. It's possible, like, there is a Southern Base and it's bad, or she is just bad and from the Southern Base, or, like, maybe was with the Southern Base and is, like, a renegade or something and just, like, doing, went rogue and is doing... I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities, but... You know, I mean, they have been through a lot with Touma, and now someone's just going to show up and be like, the only thing that gets me about it is that it does sound like she does have enough truthful sounding things in there to kind of make it plausible. But still, though, like, well, one of them, just one of them has to, like, give a second thought to that and be like, who even was that person? You know what I mean? I don't know. I just, like, I am and I'm not, like, mad at them, you know? for just turning on Touma like that. Wow. So Touma's now on his own. Yuki is in trouble. So that's what they're going to start doing to the people who can see the thing in the sky. They're going to start, like, turning them into stuff. That's nice. Or maybe they're just doing that with her. I don't know. Also, friendly tip, word to the wise. If you start seeing other places, realms, appearing in the sky, you're not overworked. That has nothing to do with it. Overworked is like, ah, man, I feel like I could go to bed at like 8:30 p.m. I must be overworked. It's not seeing realms in the sky. No. Like, she took that way too well. Like, she is way too calm. She maybe could use, like, a little bit more... She could be a little bit more reactionary, in my opinion, about that. About the world around her, would be my only criticism of her. Because I actually, like, from, like, the 5 minutes they show me of her, I really like that character, and I'm sad that something happened to her. Oh, yeah. And let's not forget about the person who showed up who is a sword. That is a thing that happened. Wow. Is kind of all I have to say. So he's the Sword of Light, I'm assuming, the one that she referred to. I don't know if he's the same guy that showed up during the King Arthur episodes. Kind of looks like him, but I have no clue. Wow. So Yuri, I believe they said his name was. He has a sword. They like turning things into things in this show. Like, Rintrou became a lion, and there's a man who is a sword. Sure. Okay. Sounds reasonable. All right, guys. Enough rambling. So, next week, there is no... This weekend. As I film this, it's New Year's Eve. So this weekend, there is no Saber. So if you're watching on Patreon, there will not be any Saber next week because Saber is not airing. So please join me when they return. If you're watching this on YouTube, sadly, I've had to wait a long time to put it out on YouTube for copyright reasons. So then it won't be an issue. You will get your Saber next week. Don't worry. It is not New Year's anymore. So, all right, guys. I'm scared. I'm scared to even, like, try and predict anything that's gonna happen next. So every time I'm like, gee, I don't know, you guys. Are they gonna be able to keep up this momentum? They're like, let's excommunicate Touma from all his friends. Let's kill Kento. Let's turn Rintrou into a lion. Like, just anything. Just, like, pick a random crazy thing. And they're gonna do it. So, you guys, there's Buffy hairs flying around. Sorry. Episode was intense. I loved it. I hope you loved watching it with me. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. Please be sure to join me next time, and we will watch it together. Bye for now, guys.